Daniel Stenberg with McKenzie County Economic Development.
Otherwise known as Watford City. And hey, what are some of the other towns, by the way, in your county? I know that we always go right to Watford City because it's the heart of the Bakken, and it's really kind of where most of the economic impact for your county as well as the state is coming from. But are there any other towns in your county? I know sometimes when you get in western North Dakota, it gets, well, like Billings County, I think only has like 800 people. So
Sure.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, we've got Arnegard and Alexander. They are both officially cities. We have other communities like Grassy View, Keene, Mandaree, but those are they don't have mayors. They don't have actual city governments. So the three city governments in McKenzie County is Watford City, Arnegard, and Alexander.
It's kind of funny, not funny like ha-ha, but just kind of interesting funny how I know all those towns. And you mentioned three of them don't even have mayors, and it's primarily because of like loading stations and maybe emergency service hubs and just that sort of thing. So it's really a testament to how well the industry is doing out there that those small towns, three of them not even with mayors, really are somewhat common. I would say it's common. I mean, Arnegard, I mean, you go ask 10 people out and say west of Bismarck about Arnegard, and I bet 9 out of 10 know it. And you can't do that on the east side of the state. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, what else is going on in Watford City? We want to just do a quick check-in with Mr. Daniel Stenberg, which we like to do about once a month to check in with Watford City at least, because like I said, it's the heart of the Bakken. It's where most of the economic activity's coming. What's the population? Just kind of set the tone for the interview. Over the last 10 years, what's the population growth in Watford City been?
Oh, it's nearing 300%, I think. And the 2010 census had us at maybe 1,400 people, and now we're pushing on 8,000. And we're really curious as to how the census 2020 will go, because we need it to be accurate in order to just accurately capture all the activity that we've had here, because they do their census estimates once a year, but they obviously they can't do a full census. They just do estimates based on a sampling of people, and I think.
And I remember, too, during a lot of the Bakken conferences during the beginning, they were, outside consultants were saying, a normal community, if it grows 5% a year, that's a vibrant community. Like, that's a vibrant community. If you grow 3 to 5% a year, your community's top notch. So when the Bakken boom happened, all these small towns were just getting totally inundated. And, of course, in western North Dakota, a lot of those roads were only used a couple times a year by a combine, and that was it. And so there was an entire infrastructure rebuild, and all this other stuff would happen. In fact, I used to joke with the former mayor of Watford City, who's now Lieutenant Governor, Brent Sanford, about how, it was okay for the kids to use porta potties in minus 30-degree weather because, you know what, everybody was cool with it, and nobody was getting up in arms because everybody kind of bit the bullet for a year and maybe 2 years in some cases to put in some, sewer and water and everything. But do you guys ever kind of take a step back and kind of pat each other on the back as a community? Like, God, we did all this together, 300% over 10 years. That's like historically legendary. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, no, it's, it's just interesting the way life turns out sometimes. I mean, the way economics and supply and demand and everything just kind of sometimes hit certain communities more than others. And 4 or 5 years ago it was there was quite a few infrastructure challenges getting water here, getting people and trucks transported safely, but with the bypass we have around town, with the new restaurants that have come in, with the new we're getting another elementary school starting construction now, and with a third potentially within the next 3 years. The bonds have already been voted on and approved by the voters for that, and so it sometimes, yeah, you take a step back and look at it and see the growth, but then you look at the projections and it's like, oh, we've got more work to do, and so we want to keep our eye on the ball. I mean, yeah, it's good to celebrate successes, but then just kind of keep moving forward because there's more work to be done.
With that growth happening, are you seeing any oil and gas companies, midstream companies, putting their main office or maybe their satellite office or their Bakken regional office? Are you guys getting any of those offices? I know Minot, Williston, Dickinson, I'd even say Bismarck historically has been where companies will go. I'm talking outside of, say more than 10 employees or something like that, because a lot of the smaller towns had oil and gas service companies, but they were on the smaller side and everything along those lines. But is Watford City seeing any of that? I mean, with all this growth is happening for a reason, but are some businesses of that kind of industry, putting some brick and mortar up?
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, I think 4 or 5 years ago, it was like, oh, we have to, locate in a town with an airport that will accommodate our corporate jets and what have you, and we've noticed that, and we have our airport is undergoing a $20+ million remodel in order to accommodate those corporate jets, because the companies are saying, they're realizing, no, we don't want to be 2 hours, 3 hours from where all the wells are. They need to be closer, and so you do see them coming here. ConocoPhillips has a big office here, Whiting, Oasis. The ONEOK is continually putting in more and more gas plants and continually hiring more and more people in our community as well. And so, yeah, they're all kind of, okay, they want to be where the wells are. And so, and now our community is able to accommodate those companies much better than they could 4 or 5 years ago.
How about locally? You guys seen any new businesses pop up? I mean, it's been, quite a growth. I mean, everything from pizza shops to clothing to, well, I don't know about clothing anymore. That's kind of tough with Amazon out there. But,
sure.
I mean, a trampoline park I saw open up in Williston last year or earlier this year or something like that. So take this opportunity to mention a few of the local businesses that you've seen pop up and kind of add some spice to the community.
Sure. If you look on our main street, it's a pretty vibrant main street, and folks utilize it a lot with our restaurants. I mean, Aaron and Angie Pelton are some restaurant entrepreneurs, and they started Stone Home Brewing here in Watford City, and then now they've opened a second location in Bismarck, and they started Outlaws here in Watford City, and now they have a second location in Williston. And JL Beers, they have a JL Beers franchise. They have a Wild Cow coffee and creamery place. And yeah, people are looking to Watford City for some of their restaurant entertainment. We've got a new burrito place, Burrito Brothers, that opened up. That's a brainchild of Nick Ybarra, the Madahe superstar, and Ryan Siegfried, who's done a few restaurants here in Watford City, the quick serve kind, and he's really got a pulse of the community and has his finger on what the community is looking for in terms of food options. So yeah, more and more we're continuing to get more and more restaurants and just kind of vibrant activities coming in.
A lot of people listening to this program either are podcasting it in the oil and gas industry, or they're probably listening on the radio in a oil and gas community. So it impacts a lot of these different people when it comes to what events you have going on.
Sure.
Say over the summer or wherever. I know that there's always barbecues and trade shows and yada yada type things, and then there's also actually what the community has for events, that sort of thing. So talk to me about maybe some mark your calendar for Watford City or McKenzie County this summer.
Sure. Yeah, no, our Rough Riders Center has been a game changer in terms of being able to accommodate both our community in terms of sporting activities, youth sports, hockey, volleyball, gymnastics, swimming, but then it also is bringing in just the opportunity to bring in visitors into our community and kind of new cool things, like this weekend on April 26th through the 28th, we're having our first ever sports and rec show. And Terry Moe with the Rough Rider Center there has already sold out all of the facility, and he's looking to do some things outside to accommodate everybody who's wanting to exhibit at the sports and rec show, April 26th through the 28th. They're doing indoor archery tournament as well this weekend. But then we have our county fair, moving it up a little bit this year, June 13th through the 15th. Home Fest will be in July 12th and the 13th. Rib Fest will be Friday, August 9th. Rib Fest is probably the capstone event of all the activities. Last year we had 7,000 people on Main Street with a population of 8,000, and we got 7,000 people on Main Street. It's a pretty big deal. It's a free concert, and lots of people come and cook ribs and sell other type of foods, and it's just kind of a nice, fun festival atmosphere in the community. Keeps our Main Street nice and vibrant. So there's always lots of activities to be thinking about, but those are some of the big ones that are coming up.
How about housing? Single-family housing you've mentioned in the past as one of the things that is needed in the Bakken, despite the lack of investment that's been going on in housing. So talk to me about that paradox, I guess, that nobody seems to be investing in single-family housing, but you guys are looking for single-family housing. Do I have that right?
Yeah. No, we've had,
okay.
We've had some changes. I mean, first kind of came all of the hotels, 4 or 5, 6 years ago, and they got built out, and they're actually they're running full capacity on weekdays right now, and so they might need some more. But then apartments came in, and they were able to build them up, and then kind of the last piece of the puzzle for our housing piece is the single-family housing. And we've had some pretty big developments come in, but when you get 300% population growth, you just need more housing, because the folks that have been living in an apartment for maybe 2 years have been sharing walls and have realized that they want to make Watford City their home. They have the kids in the school system, and they're enjoying integrating. They just want to take the next housing step in with single family housing. And so the McKenzie County Job Development Authority, we're working on an incentive program to get more single family housing built. It's not going to solve all of our challenges or serve all of our needs, but we're just hoping that it will stimulate it a little bit. The county commission is going to be pushing $1 million towards getting more single family housing built in McKenzie County, and all the details are still being worked out, but we're hoping to get that out within the next month or so, probably in May. So,
wrapping up here, Daniel Stenberg, McKenzie County Economic Development Corporation. But what is the official name? It's there's a JDA, right? It's McKenzie
Sure.
County JDA. What's the JDA?
So JDA stands for Job Development Authority.
Okay.
And it's through North Dakota Century Code that counties can establish a job development authority, and then they list out what the responsibilities and the purview is of the job development authority. And then so I've got 11 highly respected community members on my board. They represent banking, legal, utilities, various aspects of the community. We come together once a month, and they kind of give me direction as to what we need to be working on.
Mm-hmm.
So,
This is basically like an economic development thing, right? As far as that goes, in terms of other communities, they might be called that, or
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. I do try to play somewhat of a journalist, so I try to get names and titles correct at least. It's kind of like spelling your name right on the ACT. You should be able to do at least that. So I just, after I realized they introduced you, McKenzie County Economic Development, I'm going, no, on that sheet I saw JDA, so I didn't know if that was J.E. Dunn or what, but no, I'm just kidding. Who's obviously a common truck you see up in Watford City, Dickinson, and Williston. Anyway, but kind of final thoughts here, wrapping up. Anything we missed? Anything we want to reiterate? Any good chili recipes or anything like that? So go ahead, sir. The floor is yours for final thoughts.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we're in for a pretty brisk 2019 with, we're continuing to have more babies being born in our community, and that means just kind of that, all of that stimulates everything else going up. And so with the schools having their bonds passed, that is a big deal, and allows the school board authority to make the decisions that they feel is right for the kids. And so we really appreciate our community support for that.